Here with me is Dr. Carlton Payne.
Dr. Carlton Payne.
Is Dr. Carlton Payne.
Dr. Carlton Payne.
Dr. Carlton Payne.
Dr. Carlton Payne.
Dr. Carlton A. Payne. He has an impressive resume. He's the director of the Behavioral Health Compliance for the Philadelphia prison system. He was also the first African-American psychologist in the history.
Is the first African-American psychologist in the history of the Philadelphia prison system and currently serves as the director of behavioral health for the Philadelphia Prison Project. Among his many other achievements, he is also the author of a couple of books.
He's written a book chronicling his adventures as a neophyte counselor at the center. Daring escapes, lurid trysts, and heroic tales make for a great read.
Author of How to Triumph Over Tragedy, a step-by-step guide to overcoming adversity.
You have to earn these privileges. Guys who are not acting well or not behaving well don't get these privileges.
They earned it by being a criminal? So you're giving them privileges for bad behavior?
No, if they behave while they're there, while they're not attacking guards, they're not beating each other, they're not hurting each other. But if they have some training, some education, some trade, they're going to be a different person when they leave that jail.
We're asking our viewers if they agree with that theory or not. If you'd like to join in, here's our question. Do you think prisoners are afforded too much in jail? If you want to tell us what you think on that, you can log on to cn8.tv and take our web.
I'm Dr. Carlton Payne from the Philadelphia Prison System, Director of Behavioral Health Compliance. Before I came up here, Mr. Johnson made it very clear to me that I have 10 minutes. So, like Elizabeth Taylor said to each of her 8 husbands, I will not keep you very long. I'd like to thank Dora Olivo, Ms. Tammy Wayne Campbell, and Cassius Johnson, and her fine and efficient staff for having me come to this conference. I am, like I said, I'm the Director of Behavioral Health, but I'm also a psychologist, specializing in children. I contrast that with working with the Philadelphia prison system. I get to see both ends of the tunnel, and that's the end of the tunnel I'm here to talk about. A psychologist studies the science of the human mind, how it works in relation to its environment. And the more I study the human mind, the more I'm fascinated with how it works. You have a fantastic device created by a master designer, if you know who I'm talking about. Gigabytes, megabytes, kilobytes pale in comparison to what your mind does every day. And there's an old saying, intelligence without education is like leaving gold in the mine. Now, teachers, students, they deserve to have safe schools. I give you that. No one wants a disruptive kid in the classroom, but everybody deserves an education. And if that does not take place, we pay the price, and I see the price every day. 8,700 lost souls locked up in a 3-block area. That's more people than was in my father's hometown in Lynchburg, Virginia. The first prison was built in 1683 in America. It held 5 people, pickpockets and miscreants. It took 311 years to reach the 1 million mark. In 1994, I was in Newsweek, and people were appalled. We've reached the 1 million mark. We can't go any further. In only 10 years, from 1994 to 2004, we are over 2 million people in prison. 47% of them are African-American men. When I was 10 years ago, when I was in the prison system, one of the commissioners showed me a projection. We're going to have a prison built in 2005. We were appropriating the money, and I looked at the demographics. They said that the prisoners will be between 18 and 24 years old. 10 years ago, the youngest of which was 8. So we already had a bed ready for that 8-year-old when he turned 18. When I talked to Ms. Campbell, she told me about the 3rd grade to prison pipeline. How old is a kid in 3rd grade? He's 8. Whoa. I never started reading on this information. Dr. Juan Kajufo, he said he coined the term, the 3rd grade failure syndrome. And he said from kindergarten to the end of 3rd grade, brown and black children are among the highest achievers in the country. And then they fall off after 3rd grade. What's going on here? 8 years old. A little more research. 8 years old is the age when a child begins to develop an image of who he's going to be. I like to bring up a story that my mother used to tell me when I was a kid. Jesus was brought before Pontius Pilate, and Pontius Pilate said to him, "I know not of you." And Jesus says, "Because these words weren't meant for you." Cosby was not talking to Rush Limbaugh or Condoleezza Rice or Clarence Thomas. He was talking to us. Amen. And he's saying, you need to do better than what you're doing. Yep. You need to step up. I was coming down the hall in the prison, and I saw a young man coming toward me who was 7 feet tall. Young African-American man, 7 feet tall. And I took him in my office because I played basketball when I was in college, and I still knew the coach on the team that I played. And I said, "What are you doing in prison? I could get you a tryout on a college team." But his thing was sticking up people at Mac machines. And this is what he did. He turned his jacket inside out, and he put a stocking mask over his face, and he stuck up a woman at the Mac machine. Then he took the mask and put it in the trash, and he turned the jacket the right side and walked down the street. And the police just rolled up on him and put him in the car. And he told me, "I'm going to beat this case because the guy was wearing a mask. How would they know it was me?" I said, "Because you're 7 feet tall." He did not see himself. Nobody gave him any guidance. Nobody told him who he was.
This facility. Look at it long term. A cost-benefit analysis points out that drug and alcohol intervention is much more effective than incarceration because they'll be in jail for a period of time and then they'll go right back to what they were doing and then they'll recidivate. So if we can have a program for treatment while they're in their community, it would bolster their ability to stay in their community.